Okay, well, how are you feeling? You feeling warmed up, ready to rock?
I really don't prepare for a lot of stuff.
That's perfect. I think that's actually better to come in, not necessarily blind, but you can only see so far ahead of yourself because you didn't really take the time to prepare anything. Like a prepared statement versus something off the cuff.
It'll just, yeah, I'm better just.
Let it rip.
Yep, might hear some weird shit, but hey, that's fine.
That's kind of the point, though, isn't it?
Right, yeah.
All right. I've been recording for a little bit now, pretty much since you jumped on, just to let you know.
Okay.
So, like, we were, a little bit of ad hoc
Okay,
there, but that's going to be more like if we need something to intro ourselves with. I'm not really sure how do we want to do this. Like, welcome to the fucking restaurant. We're about to serve up some hard shell tacos.
Yeah,
All right, there it is.
I like that.
Yeah, that's what we're about to do.
Okay.
I hope you
I
like
got
that.
my mic set up here. We're good.
You better want that salsa fucking extra spicy, because that's what you're gonna get, whether you like it or
That's fine
not.
by me.
All right, cool. So let's get some quick intros. This is Hard Shell Tacos. My name is Leo. You may know me from other shows on the Lux Media Network, B-Sides Boxing, Ultimate Fucking Casual. But I've been wanting to branch out for a minute, so I'm really glad that my cousin Liliana here decided to join me in the kitchen, we'll say.
Hi, I'm Lily.
All right.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's all right. It's cool. That's episode 1 rust, I guess. Like we'll shake that shit off as time goes on.
I agree.
So the premise of Hard Shell Tacos. Lily and I obviously grew up together. Well, I don't know if that's obvious or not, but we grew up together, and they're in a Mexican household. Our parents are immigrants. We were born here. We've always been kind of different, like not necessarily Mexican enough, if that makes sense. So it has some benefits, but it also comes with a lot of drawbacks, and that's kind of what we're going to break into. Is like, I am more than certain that there's a lot of other Chicano kids that didn't quite fit in. They weren't Mexican enough for the Mexicans. They weren't American enough for the Americans. I'm more than certain that there's plenty of you out there. So we're just going to go through some, like, my outline today is I have from the subreddit Am I the Asshole? I picked up 3 that I thought would make for interesting conversation. And I have these card games. I'm a complete fucking sucker, and they're on Instagram. And they give you ads, and the basis of them is to generate conversation in a group of people that you may or may not necessarily know. So we'll go through some difficult ones in the middle, and then we're gonna taper off kind of lightly so that we're not super triggered going to bed. All right, so housekeeping shit. Threads. I refuse to use Twitter, so you can find me on Threads, LVX Media Net. That's where you can find me on everything. And WhatsApp. I have WhatsApp listed, but I built it out further. You can text. The number off the top is 833-589-7637. 833-LUX-PODS. You can text about any show you want from wherever you want. Just originally I had set it up, and only WhatsApp had worked. But we got that shit working now. So, let's get started on the Am I the Asshole?
Sounds good.
Okay, so the first one is, I have a sister that's 6 years older than me. My parents for years cancel on me last minute because of my sister. I have a basketball game. Sorry, sister doesn't feel like going out. I'm graduating from school. Sorry, sister had a bad day at work, and so we're not going out. They've missed major milestones and smaller events in my life because of her meltdowns. I met the love of my life and decided to tie the knot. From the beginning, I told my parents how I'm worried that sister's going to ruin the situation. She's going to ruin my special moment. And Mom assured me over and over that it would not happen. The day of the wedding, I get a voicemail from my mother saying that she wasn't coming because my sister's dog was sick and she was upset. I was hurt. But my best man, however, is a jokester. He took my phone and then he went to my fiancée, soon-to-be wife, and asked if he could post a video of our wedding as a gift on social media. She loved the idea. I had no idea what they were going to do. So our honeymoon was at a lakeside cabin with no cell service. The post caption said, "This is my best friend. He's the most amazing person, even if his parents never show up for him." And the video was pictures of the couple, bride and groom, and in all of the places where her parents are, it's really obvious that his parents are not. And then, but over the slideshow is the voicemail from mom saying that sister's dog is sick, so we're not coming. Yeah, this is a little longer than I thought it would be on when I'm reading it. So I come home, and hundreds and hundreds of messages pouring in from all sides of the family saying, take the video down. And that sister is like bawling her eyes out, and dad, mom, both pleading. He doesn't take any calls until his vacation time ends, and he's about to go back to work. So dad is saying, it was just a bad night, and we'll make it up to you. My reply was, how do you plan to make up my wedding? It's a once-in-a-lifetime thing. You're completely ignoring how I feel about this. And they kind of went back and forth. So the original poster wants to know if they're the asshole. They have not taken down the video. What do you think?
I'm gonna say they're not the asshole. Their family is for not showing up for him and choosing the sister and her dog or whatever every time and putting him just, on the back burner. So he's not an asshole.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. What struck me about this story in particular was the always being pushed aside for someone else. I kind of felt that you might be able to relate to that a bit as well. So
1000%.
Yeah, that's why I picked it. Like, that is just incredibly fucked up of your parents to skip your wedding. Goodness gracious, I cannot believe that. Ugh. Me being me, I would have piled on and made it worse. That's just how how I get down.
I mean, I probably would have went off on my family if they did that to me and just cut off all ties completely, because it's not worth having anyone in your life, family or not, that's going to just treat you, like you don't exist, kind of.
Or that you're always second, like you're second best, and, like, we'll make it up to you. And they never fucking do. It's just the fucking empty platitude. The shit's tiring. And I think that's what makes these taco shells so crispy, is that we're being cooked in American oil. That is to say, I don't give a shit if you're a relative or not. If you're being an asshole to me, if my parents were to skip my wedding, I wouldn't talk to them anymore. I already don't, but...
Well, I can't say I don't talk to my parents, but I don't live in the same state as them anymore. But it's not just particularly my parents, it's other members of the family that I choose to just keep as much distance as I can for my personal well-being and sanity.
Yeah, that makes sense. That American cooking.
Yep.
All right, let's get to the next one. This is also a little longer than I meant it to be. The original poster is a 39-year-old woman, married with kids, family of 4. They order Chinese food, and somebody asked where the dog is, or the cat, excuse me. And the boy shouts, "Make sure to hide the cat from the Chinese guy," just as mom is opening the door to a Chinese man delivering the food. And he was obviously upset about it. I told my son that racist jokes were completely unacceptable and very wrong, and he refused to admit that he was in the wrong. Later in the night, I forced my son to write a sincere apology letter to the driver. The driver had the name on the receipt, and a 1-page paper on Chinese culture, and another page on why racism is perpetuated by jokes and stereotypes. So they take it. The driver was really grateful. He explains to the boy, like, this shit happens to me all the time, and this is the first time anybody's ever apologized for it. So the night they go to the driver's restaurant, the husband says that was excessive, that he was embarrassing the son, and that the punishment didn't fit the crime, is the quote that mom put into the post here. She says to husband that it was much more embarrassing to have to face the driver, and the driver having to face that kind of racism, and her opening the door to her son saying shit like that, and that she was embarrassed as well. So husband says it's just a joke and it's not that big of a deal. I'm starting to think I may have overreacted, but I think it's important to help my son understand how what he said is wrong and how it hurts people. So what do you think? Is she the asshole?
I don't know. I would say no, but I'm kind of like siding a little bit with the husband as far as it being too excessive, but based on how I was disciplined as a kid, that's just fine by me with what the mom did.
So that would be standard fare for you as far as what you
yes.
have to deal with. If I had said some shit like that, I probably, like, other people that were there would probably have joined in and made other jokes too.
Well, yeah.
It's unfortunate how something that I notice among, like, Mexican immigrants, Mexican Americans, Chicanos, whatever you want to call it, is the constant complaint of having to deal with racism and then turning around and being extremely fucking racist.
Yeah.
I completely admit that I was like that. I was absolutely like that. That's embarrassing to think about.
Yeah, same. And my parents are like that still to this day, and they're a interracial couple. Interracial kids, so I'm like, make that make sense to me. How is it that you, an interracial couple, are going to be racist with, like, that shit doesn't add up to me when it comes to my parents, because I'm like, you guys are a mixed race couple, so I don't get people who are racist that are like that, or anyone in general. I don't condone it, I hate it, but we did grow up around a lot of jokes that were not good.
Yeah, like, oh, it's not that big a deal, it's just a joke.
Yeah.
It's not that people are like and another thing that really bothers me about this, particularly about older people, is everyone's getting too sensitive, snowflakes and all that, that type of shit. It's like nobody.
Yeah.
It's not that people are suddenly becoming bothered by these things. We've always been fucking bothered by that shit. I say we as the people who are like the target of those kinds of jokes. We've always been bothered by it. We just never said anything. That was it.
Yeah.
Like, the shit's has never been cool. And I don't...
I do want to say that being me, I'm half white. I don't look like anyone are Mexican, on your dad, my mom's side of the family. So it's weird talking about racist jokes and stuff like that. I kind of experienced it kind of differently. It's just weird for me to explain because, yes, the color of my skin is white, but I grew up predominantly with our, Hispanic Mexican heritage. So, like, my stuff would be like people ask me, like, oh, well, you don't look Mexican, say something in Spanish, or, having to prove it some way that I am. I still get it to this day. Like, every time I go visit my parents and I go anywhere with my mom, I don't look like her at all. So we always get weird looks to this day. And especially when I start talking Spanish, I still it's just weird how we haven't evolved as people. That, like, not all Latinos are brown, we come in all different colors and shapes, what have you. And it's something that still to this day just gets under my skin. And I can't handle it. Like you said earlier, it's like we're never, American enough, we're never Mexican enough.
Shit, this one's kind of long. But this is the last one for the dilemmas.
Okay.
My son had a long-distance girlfriend recently for about 2 years. She was great, really nice, everyone liked her. She would constantly come to visit him, like at least once a month, but he never went to go see her. I don't think it specifies what perspective this is, but I tried to talk to him about it several times, and that he should really think about going to go visit her as well, instead of expecting her to do all the work, and he said no. Okay, so this is Dad. My wife probably had something to do with it. She constantly told him she was afraid of him flying. So I talked to them both and said that this is a great lady, great girl for him, and she's willing to move from her country to theirs, but said that one condition was that he'd have to go visit her at least once, which is fair. And I agree with Dad here. And he said no, he didn't want to fly or didn't want to travel at all. He's becoming lazier and lazier, eventually telling his girlfriend and us that he was perfectly fine never traveling anywhere, including for holidays. So last week, he told us that she dumped him. I went to her Facebook page, since we're still friends, and she wrote us an apology about how she's upset it didn't work out, but these things happen, so I guess they're kind of friendly still. And she's already with another guy. Wife and I have no doubt that she was starting to see him while in a relationship with my son. I confess to mom and son that I agree with long-distance girl's decision to break up and that he should have seen this coming. Everyone's like bickering back and forth. Wife and son are very upset that I said this. They're very upset. Wife says I'm being horrible, but I stand by what I said. You think Dad's an asshole here?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're not willing to, like, do your part in the relationship, even seeing the girl once, then, you deserve to get broken up with so that she can find someone better. Like,
what did you expect,
plain
buddy?
and simple. Yeah.
What did you really expect? I've been in a long-distance relationship once. It's extremely difficult. Mm-hmm. Really, really hard to maintain that. And obviously homegirl was putting in the work, but old boy was not. Sorry. Like, she started seeing the writing on the wall a long time ago, mm-hmm. and she met someone else. Sucks to be you. Maybe try not being a dickhead next time.
That's true, yeah. It's like, put in your effort, too. Don't just expect everything, to be one-sided, and you just reap the benefits,
I wonder what country this is, or, like, what culture this is, because, like, the boy being pampered little prince kind of thing. Ugh, it reeks with Latino, but I'm not entirely certain.
I know. Say that, too.
It just reeks with it.
Typical.
Yep.
Yep.
And mom being afraid of him flying. That's bullshit. I don't believe that for a second.
It's like cut the cord already, okay? I will say I did. One of my last relationships was with a guy like that who was like a mama's boy. He didn't want to move out, didn't want to do this and that because of his mom, and I'm like, I can't do this. Like,
what?
Something needs to give here.
What was he expecting when the relationship starts taking its course and,
I had to give in...
ultimatum?
I don't know. Yep. And then I ended up getting, like, shit on by the entire family for making him move in with me. But whatever. That's long and done, and I'm glad I ended that one.
That's actually a good segue. Our first question here is from the game Icebreaker. Okay. The specific pack is life lessons. What piece of advice would you give to your younger self?
Oh my god.
Yeah, I told you you wanted to get into it. We are now in the find out phase of fucking around. We're in the find out phase.
Oh goodness, there's so much I could tell my younger self. But if anything, if I could give myself one piece of advice, is don't let people tear you down. Don't listen to what others have to say about you. Do what you want to do, whether it's something your family agrees with or not. Be yourself. Because one of the things that I've recently started discovering about myself is that I am someone who heavily masks around other people.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, so obviously, there's a lot of trauma. There's a ton of abuse, any and every kind that you can think of.
Oh man, me too.
You and I were always different than everyone else on that side of the family, and I get, on both sides, but majority your dad and my mom's side. We were treated differently because we were different, and we were kind of outcasted. We were made fun of. So something that I now realize that I did a lot as a kid up until now, and I still do it, and it's something I'm trying to break away from, is that I mask. I don't ever feel like I can be myself whenever I go visit our family, with the exception of my dad. Like, my dad's the only one that I'm okay around, he's my safety net, my best friend, everything. So he gets to see the real me because he never really shut me down. But as a young kid, I just always remembered anytime I would try to express myself, I would get shut down, made fun of. I'm not going to name names, but a big chunk of that side did that to me. And it still kind of happens. My light was just turned off at a very young age. So in order to protect myself and to kind of be accepted, I mask, and I still do it. I'm trying to break out of that, but it's just a trigger because immediately you'll get gaslit, if you're any different. Try to speak up. Hence why I don't live in the same state anymore.
I kind of figured that was
visits very short. A lot of people will say it isn't my mom's fault. She's part of the reason, but it's...
Okay, so let's pivot back here real quick. So
Sorry.
no, it's completely fine. This is actually what I was hoping would happen, that we wouldn't have to rely on the prompts too much.
Yeah.
So would the piece of advice that you give to your younger self is to be your genuine self, unapologetically genuine?
Yes.
That's good.
Yes,
that's really good.
100%. What about you?
Oh man, that's such a good one that I want to take it, but I'm gonna try to give something different. And the advice I'd give to my younger self is it's twofold. So A, don't be afraid to ask for help, even for the extremely difficult shit that you have in your head and your heart.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, be cautious, because not everybody has your best interests at heart. That
100%.
I had to learn that the hard way with. So,
yeah.
That would be what I tell myself.
I feel you on that one.
As far as like being unapologetically myself, though, in that regard, that was why I joined the military. I needed to leave. I needed to figure out who I am as best I could, and that seemed like the best idea.
Yeah, that's why I moved, because I wanted to be myself without, getting shit on every day for it.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. All right. What are you still unlearning? Is it the masking thing? Or do you want to give another one for that?
So with me, the abuse did not just come from family members. It also happened with the previous relationship that I was in. I was with a narcissist, an abusive narcissist. So I'm trying to unlearn all my trauma responses and triggers and things like that, and not masking. There's a lot to. I know that my healing journey isn't going to be an overnight thing or a year. It's going to take time.
Yeah.
Because there's still stuff that's happening that is still causing me more trauma. So I'm just kind of trying to heal through all of it. I really want to learn to not get triggered all the time, to not let that actually affect me, whatever it is that's happening. And just unlearning all of the defense mechanisms I've had to learn and all of that. But I know I've got a long journey ahead of myself.
I think defense mechanism, survival mechanism, trauma safeguards or responses. Mm-hmm. So those are a really good encapsulation of a lot of things. So in the sense of that broad umbrella term, yes, I could say the same thing, but to try to give it a little bit more detail, I would say that I'm unlearning my perceived worthlessness.
I could probably chime in on that one too.
I mean, when you're told all the time how shitty you are, in just all kinds of different varieties of very colorful words. Yeah, you suck.
Yeah.
You're worthless. You're never gonna fucking amount to anything. Damn, at some point you just start believing it.
That was expected out of me throughout our whole childhood. So one of the things that came out of that for me is that I love proving people wrong. I don't want to give people the satisfaction of seeing me fail, I will not let it happen no matter what. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, but that's something that I do. But that's also something I'm trying to unlearn, because I do get into those negative thoughts. If one little thing wrong is off balance, at work or in my personal life, I will just beat myself up the entire day and just, put myself down. And I'm trying to unlearn that as well, like you.
You just said something, and I'm trying to. It made me think of something I completely forgot.
You like people to prove people wrong?
Yes, that's what it was. About that being good or bad. Mm-hmm. I have a bit of a problem with now I can get stubborn at times, where if I'm dealing with a problem, typically at work, if I'm struggling with something, I refuse to ask anybody for help. It's getting to the point where it's problematic, where at some point you need to stop spinning your wheels on something and maybe try to get some perspective.
Too. I'm like that too, in every aspect of my life. I'm very stubborn now too. I guess that's my way of setting a boundary with people. Is I'm stubborn. I'm gonna do it my way.
And I'm not gonna listen to your bullshit if you have something to say about it.
That's pretty much where I'm at now. These are good questions.
Yeah, I'm telling you, these card games are fucking legit. All right, let's move on to this one. Oh, so the previous one was it's a game called Unpack That, and the pack was Reflections.
Okay.
Or Self-Reflections. Okay. This one is the Delve Deck Level 4. These are the hardest questions. There's a lot more in there that I thought might be too heavy just to start things off. So, what do people wrongly assume about you?
Oh my god. That's a hard one. I'll let you answer that one first.
All right, cool. I think this one, the assumptions that people make depends on what it is that they may know about me beforehand. Or like their prejudices. Like if they know I was in the military, they get that assumption that I'm like a red hat, tap dancing Trump idiot when I'm not.
Yep.
Absolutely not. But that's something that people assume. Yeah, one of the shows I mentioned to you, Progressive Patriots, that I'm getting the final touches on things before we go.
Okay.
But so that's one thing. Another thing that people often wrongly assume, I'm ambiguously brown. So brown skin, facial hair, you could be from like half of the world, anywhere really. And so the one I often get, and this is one that really bothered me. I used to go to this barber shop not too far away from where I live. I used to go there for years. The same people working the chairs. It was a few women and a few men. Like the men would like change in and out, but the ladies like owned and ran the shop. Every time I came in, after there was some kind of big news, one of the first things they assumed, to put it into context, is they assumed that I was Iraqi because Iraq was in the news. And then later, Boston bombing, the guy who did it, he is from Chechnya, so he's Chechen. They assumed I was Chechen. Yeah. Some shit happened with Iran, and they said, oh, he's Persian. And so, like, I finally got fed up with it, and I said, in very loud and clear Spanish, do you just look at me and assume I'm a bad person? I don't get it. Anytime something bad happens, you say that I'm one of them. You say this shit about me every single time. I've been coming here for years. You could have just fucking asked me, but instead you just talk shit about me because you think I don't know what you're saying. Oh, man. So, yeah, that was the last time I went to that particular barbershop.
I still don't really know how to answer that one for me, but I'll just say that people just assume that I'm way too nice. I mean, I used to be kind of a pushover, but I'm not anymore. I've become very straightforward with people and like blunt, direct.
Don't mistake my kindness for weakness.
Yeah,
which is what people tend to do.
And then obviously, people just think I'm just white.
Yeah, yeah. You mentioned that one earlier.
That's the only other thing I'm like, that's the only other one I could think of.
After 9/11, like I used to get bullied at school, and I got beat up a few times. Being ambiguously brown sucks. I mean, would you like to guess how of all the times I've been to the airport, how many times do you think I've been randomly selected for screening?
Oh, 10 out of 10.
Yep.
Times.
Every single time.
That sucks.
Every time I get extra screening. Like my bags don't just go through the x-ray or whatever. They have to be hand inspected.
Okay. They get searched.
Yep. My hands get checked for fucking chemical residues. Would you like to look in my butthole as well? Jesus fucking fuck. Like, what are we doing? I want to say the worst time, I was flying to Germany, and I had a lot of layovers. One of them was in Paris. Okay. I landed in Paris. I'm still inside past the security checkpoints, walking to my terminal boarding section to go to get on my plane to Germany, and I get stopped for like to be checked. Like, bro, I just got off of a plane from fucking England.
That's crazy.
I've been stopped and frisked in New York. That was not fun. That was embarrassing. Yeah. I was in for work, have my bag. I just carry like a duffel. It's not a big deal. I'm going from my hotel. I'm walking to the nearest subway station so I could get on a train to get to the airport. And they, like, as I'm walking down, the cops are like, hey, come here. What? Me? Yeah, you, come here. I go, oh shit. Oh fuck, I don't know what I did. And I'm like, open your bag. What the fuck? Okay, here you go. Like, it's just like some dirty chonies and clothes. There's nothing in here. And then they like turn out your pockets. I'm like, whoa, my god. This is what stop and frisk is like. All right, fun.
Dang, that sucks.
Yeah.
I have to deal with that every single time.
Yeah.
I would not want to travel anymore if that happened.
Damn. Actually, I misspoke. I did not get stopped one time, and that was in Cleveland.
Okay.
So that was kind of random. Like, of all places, Cleveland.
You're expecting it, and it's like, oh,
yeah, like it's Ohio.
Today.
I kind of see how like the political maps are for here. So, but, all right. I think they just in my bag. I had a little thing of dry powder, so you don't chafe or like whatever. And they pointed it out on the screen, like, what's that? I'm like, it's my foot powder. If you want to look at it. So they open the bag.
Yeah.
And it says the brand that I get is called Monkey Butt. It has a baboon with a giant red ass on the label.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So like, hey, I told you, like, it's just like keep me dry powder. Kind of a hairy fellow, so this humid Great Lakes area, I don't do well with it.
Yep.
All right. Did you want to touch on this one, or do you want to move on? Either way's fine.
You can move on because I can't. Yeah.
All right. So this is from the game Let's Get Real. Level 3 is the highest one. How can the people in your life support you in becoming the person you want to be?
To me, it's plain and simple. Just accept the fact that I am who I am. It's plain and simple. That's all I really. And just, I guess, checking in with me here and there, and actually meaning it, not doing it because you have an ulterior motive or you want something out of it in return, which is usually what happens.
That's too bad.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
Hi. So I wanted to let you know that this is me cutting in a different response to the question. As I was editing and I was listening to what I was saying, listening back to it, I came to the conclusion that I'm not ready for this to be public yet. I am going to answer the question. I'm not going to not. And the response will be adjacent to what I originally said. It just won't be as detailed. I would say what somebody could do for me to help me be the person that I want to be. The first thing is patience. It takes me a bit of time. Like, while I may seem, jovial and warm and friendly and fun-loving, that does not necessarily mean that I trust someone or that I'm comfortable with someone. So, as we get over that first hurdle, it also takes some time to understand that the difficulties that I've had to endure make me think and see and behave differently. Like we talked earlier about defense mechanisms, trauma responses, survival mechanisms, that type of stuff. While I like to think that I am past that kind of thing, I can't say certainly that I am, because, I don't know, I don't get to observe myself from outside of myself. So, patience is a big key, and this actually might tie into a previous question of what are things that people wrongly assume about you. Being a single man in 2023, trying to do the online bullshit, like, I've noticed that a red flag, one that people hold to be, true, which is not universally true, is that men with poor relationships with their mothers, that's a red flag. That's a bad person. That's not a good partner, material person. You don't want to connect with that kind of person. That makes things pretty fucking difficult when it's what it is that it puts me into a position of having to explain why things are the way that they are. And to me, it feels like victim blaming and victim shaming. Like, this isn't my fault. I didn't fucking do anything. And it gets me I feel I'm justified in getting pretty fucking upset about it. It's not my fault. I didn't do anything. Why am I being judged negatively for it? And I know that that's not what people's intentions are. So I think patience in getting to know me and giving me a chance. And as we develop a bond, people would get to know why things are the way they are. And so I guess that kind of mirrors the accept me for who I am kind of thing. But it's, have patience with me. It's going to take time for me to explain why things are the way they are, and you have to take a chance, because I know that it's a red flag, and I see the logic. Like, it's just fucking hard, man. Like, this is a really difficult topic to discuss, a really difficult thing for me to bring up, and it's also a very difficult topic to bring up at the beginning of any relationship, friend, romantic, doesn't matter. It's a really difficult topic, and I'm unfortunately in the negative position, but not by my own doing. So to tie things back in and try to wrap this back into the conversation as it was going, so I'm about to cut back into Lily talking about like generational trauma and how people in, like, at least in our culture, we try to act like it didn't happen, or water under the bridge, sweep it under the rug, whatever analogy you like. So that's what we're going to cut back into. But to frame it is we've both had to endure pretty difficult situations, to put it, diplomatically. And what we were both talking about, what we were going back and forth with each other on, was getting people to acknowledge what you went through, which that is, I think, part of the patience thing is, like, I still don't know if I'm at that point yet, or if I don't think I am, but I don't know. And I'm trying, but, when you try, it's not always, you're like rocking the boat and you're causing unnecessary problems, they might say. It sucks. But yeah, let's cut back into us talking about breaking generational trauma. Thanks.
I just want to tell these people, if you have not been in my shoes and experienced all the shit that I've experienced, you have no reason to talk and tell me to just get over it. I would love to see someone be in our shoes.
Yeah.
And go through what we did, and just be tell them, like, well, just get over it. In
my resentment and my anger, I say, go through half of what I went through, and let me see how you fucking turn out.
Yeah.
But that type of vindictive anger was difficult to let go of.
Yeah.
Then I went through the same grieving stage that I think you said you're going through right now, was mourning the loss of what could have been, of who you could have been. That shit was fucking hard too. That took me a long time.
Yeah, I'm definitely in that right now, and it just hurts my inner child every time.
Yeah, of course it does.
And then it's crazy that a lot of people who have gone through what we have gone through, they succumb to those things.
They perpetuate the abuse, or they become like my father, being extremely, violently abusive.
Yeah, my mother too. Or, they end up, they're in and out of jail, they're on drugs, this and that. And one of the things, I was thinking about this the other day, about what my greatest accomplishment was, and it is not turning into what was done to me. And that's something that not a lot of people who have gone through what we have gone through can say,
I do know. It's a rarity, for sure. One of my outlets for trying to help other people break that type of generational struggle is I correspond mostly through snail mail, very few via email, but I correspond with people that are in prison, and just try to talk, just try to be a friend, a good ear, good shoulder to lean on. There's one in particular that she didn't tell me. It took a long time for her to finally reveal what was going on, and so she revealed it to me. It was what got her busted was child pornography and child abuse, like sexual abuse of children. And so it was about that time I decided, like, I'm not talking to you anymore. But
Yeah.
she had been trying to get me to help her look through court precedent or any kind of legal recourse for what she was like facing as far as like punishments, given that she had a difficult history herself. But she asked me that, so I started looking into it. I found out what she did. It's like, okay, check this out. I'm not gonna help you worm your fucking way out of this. You're going to accept responsibility for what you did. I'm never speaking to you again. So you're gonna fucking figure it out on your own, or woman the fuck up and swallow the pill that you asked for.
Yeah.
And yeah, so after I think it was like a year and a half of extensions, I got a ping just because I signed up on a website and it gave me alerts for her case. I got a ping and said that she changed her plea to guilty a few weeks later. Like I could say something like "good for you," but like I don't really want to. That's the whole like not what hold on, let me look up these quotes I have because they're actually really poignant.
Okay.
I keep them on my phone because they're really good and I don't want to fuck them up.
Okay,
the first one is, we become one of two types of people. One, the type that perpetuates the indignities they have suffered, or two, the type they wish would have saved them when no one did.
that's a good one.
Yeah, and the second one is, even if we make mistakes and do terrible things, we can still try to make things right. And that's what matters. Trying. I got that from Newt Scamander in The Secrets of Dumbledore. Fantastic Beasts.
Something that second one is something I'm trying to like work through with my mom, because like I know my mom will never admit what she did was wrong. My brother and I will never get an apology, you know?
Yeah.
But
it's weird when she tries to be really like sweet, and
it's like a weird thing. It's like I have a love-hate thing with my mom. It's so complicated to even put into words what I, feel.
Of course.
For her. But I had to forgive her a long time ago, because it's like I limit my time visiting them to like 4 days max, and I try not to stay in the same house as her because I am her punching bag. My mom just loves to argue I don't know what her thing is, but she loves to just freaking get into it with people. And like after a few days, her and I start bumping heads. One of the biggest regrets that I have is that I have her temper, and it's not something to be proud of. I hate it. I hate that I have her temper, because I say some horrible, horrible things when when that red light goes off.
Yeah.
And I regret it later. So like I have to make sure I stay like at one of our other family members' houses just so that I can stay sane, because after about like day 2 of my time being out there, she's ready to, just start. We have, I guess, a better relationship long distance than we ever did living in the same state, vicinity, household. My feelings towards my mom are just weird. It's so weird, because it's like, you did all these things to me, and I see that you're trying to be a better person now, but I'm still left with the trauma of what you did to me. So it's hard to look past that with her. I don't know. Definitely something I'm trying to work through as well, is my whole relationship with her and how I feel about her. That's all I have.
That's all I have to say about that.
My ADHD just,
no, it's okay.
ADHD just takes me everywhere, and I've just got to get these thoughts out when I have them.
So the spark of that tangent, which I appreciate, I really want you to know that. It was, so what can they do to know that, or like to support me being who? One of the things that very few people have done is openly acknowledge what choices did and the problems that they caused for me. Like the majority of everyone is just trying to water under the bridge. I'm like, fuck that.
Yeah.
No, you're not.
Yeah.
I'm not letting you get away with it. But so that was one thing that people did. That was some years ago when that was the thing, was to vocally to say out loud that, like, I know what did, and I'm on your side.
Yeah,
Oh,
I've
man.
gotten that from one person in our family so far.
I'm completely fucking weird every time I see your mother. Because, like, I remember seeing her the way that she was towards you and your brother. I remember how she was, okay? So, like, she's trying to be all fucking sweet. Like, don't touch me. I'm sorry. I don't...
Yeah.
No, like, I remember how you were. I didn't forget.
Yeah.
And I
that's just
remember
what's
how she
hard
was
for
towards
me,
you.
yeah.
I'm like, fuck that.
Yeah.
Until she
Yeah.
apologizes, at least.
Yeah, but she will never understand. And I can delve into that later on during this, because I've learned some things about her, but it still doesn't excuse,
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
what she did. Yeah, I've accepted that I'm never going to hear her take accountability for any of it. So I'm just like, all right.
You know...
So I'm just going to work through my issues with her. And then I actually don't have a relationship with my brother right now.
Yeah, I noticed.
Because I said, in a thing of anger, I said I'm not going to repeat it, but I said some very hurtful things to my brother. And he chose not to talk to me. And I totally understand, because I was an asshole for what I said.
Yeah.
And I'm giving him his space. I don't bombard him with messages or try to call him. If I go visit, I'll let him know, hey, I'm here, in case he, doesn't want to stop by the house. One of our cousins is kind of the mediator there with that.
Yeah.
So she's letting me know, like, at one point he will, talk to me. But I'm like, I will give my brother whatever space he needs.
Yeah, he'll get there when he gets there.
What I did, he did not deserve to be told, and I completely take responsibility for what I said. And it came out of, I was triggered at the time. I'm not trying to excuse what I did, but I was very triggered when I said it, and I was very angry, and I let him know, I'm like, I have our mother's temper, so when I get into those states, I say some stuff that's really hurtful and that I will regret,
Yeah.
10 minutes later.
The temper is more common than you might think. Like, I had that for a long time. It took a lot of effort to learn how to suppress it.
Yeah, I am doing my best.
Yeah, well, that's really all you can do.
Yeah.
There's a parable.
I definitely...
There's a parable. It's about a father and his son. And the son has a very quick and fierce temper. So what the father does to try to help him channel that energy is he stands up like a piece of wood. It's like it's able to stand up on its own. It's really thick and everything. And he tells his son, okay, here are these really big nails, and here's a hammer. When you're really upset, I want you to take the nail and the hammer and swing it in as hard as you can. Drive the nail in as hard as you can. And you keep doing that until you cool off. And the son started, like, as he would do that, he would get, like, really tired. It's hot outside, and he's like, what? Like, why do I keep doing this? So he gets mad one day. He doesn't lose his cool. He goes to his father, and he says, I'm really mad right now, but I don't want to drive any more nails into the wood. And so the father tells him, okay, now that you have come to this point, I want you to start pulling the nails out of the wood at your own pace. And he finds the work difficult because he really drove that shit in because he was mad. And so he finally pulls out the last nail, and he says, Dad, I pulled out the last nail. What happens now? And so he walks to the wood, and he says, look at the wood. This is what your anger does. And you can apologize and pull the nails out. You can try to do anything to make it better, but you can't take away the hole that you made when you drove the nail in out of rage. That helped me learn how to control myself a lot better. It's not perfect.
I'm definitely going to keep that. I'm definitely going to keep that in mind.
Yeah.
For sure. Yep.
Okay, we are just over an hour here, so we've gone through some really heavy topics. So I put some a bit of lightness in here to try to wind down a little bit. The first one, what is your unpopular music opinion?
Mine would be probably like classical music is like one of the best genres of music out there.
I listen to string and piano arrangements all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I
listen to classical music all the time on my way to work, on the way back. I don't know. I like all kinds of music, really. So I don't know if I have an unpopular opinion or not. But,
all right, let me see if I get your gears turning with this one. I think that Jimi Hendrix did more for that era and future generations of music than the Beatles did.
Oh, 1,000%.
Jimi Hendrix is exponentially more talented than the Beatles. The Beatles were they're no different than the Backstreet Boys, but at a different point in time. So they get romanticized. They were a boy band. Jimi Hendrix was a fucking legend. That's a musician.
He was really great on that guitar. He was
almost
just talented.
Any guitarist worth their salt today credits Jimi Hendrix as one of their primary inspirations. That's my unpopular one, because apparently if you say the Beatles aren't that, like, they didn't do all that much, they were just kind of like really popular. That gets people upset.
Them. Yeah, I'm not really a big fan of them. There's maybe like 2-3 songs that I like, and that's it.
Yeah.
And I don't even know the names of them, but I don't care. Just like people were really into Pink Floyd. I don't like that.
I like Korn's cover of The Wall better than Pink Floyd's The Wall.
Like, I always ask my dad this question because I know his 5 top favorite bands, and I always asked him, who do you think is better? Was it Pink Floyd or, oh my god, what's the other one? Just slipped my mind. Hold on.
Zeppelin?
Yes. I'm like, Led Zeppelin or Pink Floyd, and he's like, Led Zeppelin all the way.
Yeah. Fuck yeah, are you kidding me? Absolutely Led Zeppelin.
His like biggest favorite band is the Eagles, so he'll always, try to put them in there in the conversation.
Oh yeah, of course. I do that with Deftones all the time.
Yep, Deftones. They're really good too. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really have too many unpopular opinions. I will say I've never listened to a Taylor Swift song. Like, I don't like her. She's talentless.
Like, from what I understand, her early music was a lot more, she was like singer-songwriter, whereas now that she's more in like the pop sort of category, not quite the same.
Yeah. Like for me, I'm really into musicians who do everything. So who like make their own beats or musical arrangements, who write their own lyrics and all of that stuff. I respect those people more than artists that have everything done for them and they just add their voice to it and that's it. That's not a real talent, in my opinion.
That might be boomer as fuck, however.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like this the same way. Like, I listen to a lot of underground rap or hip hop, and I say the way I always phrase it or frame it is that underground stuff. That's hip hop. All that fucking garbage that is floating around social media and radio hits. That's rap. That's fucking horrible. I can't stand that shit.
I like anything under like 2011 I'll like, but anything after that, it's garbage. As far as that genre of music
Lil
goes.
Ducky Boots and Fatty Whopper Flames.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck who you guys are. Your music is fucking garbage. I don't give a shit how much of a boomer you call me. I'm still correct, so I don't care.
Yeah.
All right, let's. In an ideal world, what would the next year of your life look like? So this might be one of those everything goes well. Everything goes according to plan. What do you envision for the next year?
Possibly being more successful with my own music making.
Which
maybe
you are doing the intro for this, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah, I
yes.
didn't mention that up top, but that intro song is yours.
Okay. Well, I do need to get back into that. Let's see. My cousins on my dad's side and I inherited our grandparents' land in Missouri. It's like a 40-acre plot of land, farm,
Wow.
whatever. I do hope to start my housing development, like building my house maybe within that year, and just being a little more healed than I am right now.
Yeah, no, those are all good.
Pretty much it.
Those are all good outlooks. I've been sinking. I don't want to say sinking. I've been giving all of my effort and my extra effort and time to Lux Media. I started it mid-2019, so COVID year fucked things up. Really picked it back up 2021. And before it was mostly just written content, and then about a little over a year ago, started doing the audio formats, and just recently I started figuring out how to mix video a little bit. It's not very good, but like it gets the job done. So
Yeah.
that's pretty much it. I would like to see how far I can take this.
Yeah, I need to get back into the music thing because it started in 2020 and I think I stopped in 2022. One of the horrible things of ADHD is that you get very hyper focused on one thing, you give it your all, and then all of a sudden you're bored. It's like trying to motivate myself to get back into that is quite a hassle, but I know I have something there.
Yeah.
It's just I need to keep working on it.
Yes, that actually, with the music production thing, I know you have your SoundCloud, but I would definitely like to get you a spot on the page, which, now that we're in our little outro phase, fucking segue was beautiful. You're welcome, everyone. So, lvxmedia.net. The outro, the voiceover says LVX Entertainment. Both work. LVX Media is the one that I operate with. So, LVX Media Net, so you can find us on social media. LVX Media on TikTok. Should probably change it just to match. Contact information, you can go to lvxmedia.net, go to Hardshell Tacos, and there's an email button, and you can contact us there. Alright, my favorite part, parting words. What's your, for anyone and everyone listening, what's the last thing you want to send them off to the weekend with?
Just thank you for listening. I hope you have a very great weekend and that everything goes well for you guys within the following weeks, months, years.
Man, why does everybody on this fucking network do positive stuff? No, I hope that you have a fender bender in a parking lot and it doesn't hurt anybody, but it's really annoying having to get your insurance to fix it. I don't mean that at all. I also want you to have a good time. Yeah, there's some good boxing on. There's some good MMA on. Go to the website. You can check out B-Sides Boxing or Ultimate Fucking Casual if you want to hear more about that stuff. Always more on the works, and I think that's gonna do it for us here. Order up.
Thanks for listening to this episode of our podcast. If you have any questions or comments on what was discussed or have a topic you'd like to hear on the podcast, you can leave a message on our unattended phone line at 833-589-7637. That's 833-LUX-PODS. For more shows like the one you just listened to, go to lvxentertainment.net.